is very important. Thank you.
Godfrey Bloom.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for your time, Mr President. I spent 35 years in financial services in various ways over many years, and I rather see this from a slightly different perspective. Most politicians, of course, are economic laymen. They don't really understand these things, and I would argue that we all seem to talk about here when this actually started, and you hear Lehman Brothers mentioned, and all the banks are being blamed, so on and so forth. But I would argue, perhaps, and I'd be interested in your view, that this chain of events started by politicians, American politicians, who brought in the Community Reinvestment Act. And I rather agree with my colleague here, Mr Epping, who made mention of this. We don't seem to hear that this was part and parcel of political engineering of the very worst kind, which was picked up by the banks, run with the banks, who made profits out of it. They've been backed up with taxpayers' money by politicians who made the mistake. The regulators have made nothing but mistakes, and I hear Lord Turner's name mentioned. The FSA in London have just paid themselves 10% salary increases and bonuses and Lord knows what else for presiding over the biggest muck-up in the history of banking, probably in Europe. And I don't think we need to listen too much to what he might have to say. Should we not be looking towards the British Dominions, Australia and Canada, who haven't had this problem? The Australian banks and the Canadian banks have this problem because they have a completely different sort of regulation, which is not prescriptive and not box ticking. And I think it's time somebody spoke up for the taxpayer who's had to clear up this